Have you ever felt trapped in a relationship, a job, or even in your own thoughts, as if something inside you were screaming to get out, but you didn't know what? Imagine this. You're standing in front of a mirror, looking into your own eyes, and suddenly you feel there's someone else there. A version of you that you don't fully know, but has the power to ignite passions, to change everything. Carl Jung, one of the great explorers of the human soul, discovered that this someone is real. It's not a stranger, it's your unconscious. And it holds the hidden reasons why your self-esteem can transform your life and awaken emotions you didn't even know you had. Today, we're going to dive into his wisdom to understand why you sometimes feel lost, why your relationships drain or lift you, and how you can use that inner power to live with authenticity and fullness. This isn't just a video, it's an invitation to discover yourself like never before. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear could be the start of something big. Jung said that within each of us is an entire universe, a deep world that goes beyond what we see on the surface. He called it the unconscious, that part of your mind you don't consciously control, but that influences everything, your decisions, your emotions, even how you see yourself. It's not something distant or abstract. It's there, whispering to you every day through intuitions, dreams, or that gut feeling when something's off. Has it happened to you? Maybe you were with someone who seemed perfect for you. Laughter, plans, promises. But deep down, something told you, this isn't for me. Or perhaps you tried hard to fit into a job or a friendship, and though everything looked right on paper, you felt an emptiness you couldn't explain. That, according to Jung, isn't random. It's your unconscious speaking, trying to guide you toward a more authentic life. Think about it for a second. How many times have you ignored that voice? We all do it. We live in a world that pushes us to keep running, to meet expectations, to do what others want. But Jung taught us something radical. When you ignore your unconscious, you disconnect from yourself. And that disconnection has a cost. It affects your self-esteem, that spark that makes you feel valuable, worthy of love, capable of igniting passions in yourself and others. Because let's be honest, when you feel good about yourself, when you truly accept yourself, something changes. People notice. Your relationships transform. Even the air around you seems to vibrate differently. But why is it so hard to get there? The answer lies in what Jung called the shadow. The shadow is a powerful idea in Jungian psychology. It's everything you hide, deny, or don't want to see about yourself. It's not necessarily bad. It could be your fears, your insecurities, or even your deepest desires you don't dare accept. Imagine Maria, a 32-year-old woman in Bogota. She's always been the perfect friend, always available, always smiling, always saying yes to everything. But inside, she feels anger, exhaustion, a knot she can't untangle. Why? Because she's suppressed her need to set boundaries, to say no. That anger is her shadow, and the more she ignores it, the more power it has over her. Or think of Juan, a 40-year-old man in Los Angeles. He dreams of quitting his office job and pursuing music, but he tells himself that's not realistic. His shadow is that dream he represses, and every time he does, his self-esteem dims a little more. Here's the secret. Your shadow doesn't disappear because you hide it. On the contrary, it seeps into your life in ways you don't expect. Have you ever overreacted to someone and later thought, whoa, where did that come from? That's your shadow peeking out. Jung said that integrating it, accepting it, is the first step to strengthening your self-esteem. Because when you dare to look at it, you stop fighting yourself. Imagine Maria starting to say no when she needs to, or Juan picking up a guitar and playing, even if just for fun. Suddenly, they feel freer, more themselves. And that authenticity ignites something. Confidence, energy, passion. Wouldn't you like to feel that too? Let's pause here. Take a deep breath for a moment. Think about your own life. What part of you have you been hiding? Maybe it's a dream you let go of, an anger you don't dare express, or just the exhaustion of pretending everything's fine. You don't have to answer now, but let it resonate in your mind. This is a personal journey, and every step counts. If this is already making you think, I invite you to leave a comment below with a word that comes to mind. Shadow, self-esteem, whatever. I'd love to know what's stirring you so far. Back to Jung. He believed that our self-esteem doesn't just affect how we see ourselves, but also how we relate to others. Think about your relationships with your partner, your friends, your family. Have you ever felt like you give too much and get little back? Or maybe there's someone who drains you, like after talking to them, you're left with no energy. In Mexico, for example, we know that saying, well, they suck the life out of me. Jung would say it's not witchcraft. It's your unconscious sending you a signal. Those interactions are mirrors of your inner world. If you let someone cross your boundaries over and over, you're telling your unconscious, I'm not enough. And that, little by little, dims your spark. But here's the good news. You can change it. Protecting your energy isn't selfishness. It's an act of self-love. Imagine Sophia, a 28-year-old mom in Guadalajara. She's always running, taking care of her kids, helping her mom, tending to her partner. One day she realizes she's exhausted, grumpy, and doesn't recognize herself anymore. So she starts small. She takes 15 minutes a day just for herself to read or sip coffee in peace. That simple act tells her unconscious, I matter. And suddenly she has more patience, more clarity, more zest for life. Or think of Luis, a 35-year-old man in Miami. He always says yes to his friends even when he's tired. Until one day he sets a boundary. I can't today, I need to rest. At first it's hard, but then he feels huge relief. His self-esteem grows, and his friends, far from getting mad, respect him more. This is practical, and Jung knew it. Before moving on, let me tell you that my book is now available. It's full of tips and techniques to help you overcome emotional blocks and love yourself more. Find the link in the description and the pinned comment. Let's continue. This isn't just about pretty theories. It's about actions you can take today. So here's a concrete tool. Make a quick list of the people around you. Ask yourself, who fills me with energy and who drains it? You don't have to cut ties right away, but start setting small boundaries with those who exhaust you. Say no once this week and see how it feels. It's a simple experiment, but it can reveal a lot. Now, before we go further, I want you to do something for me and for yourself. If this message is resonating with you, give the video a like and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Imagine that friend in Colombia who's always drained from pleasing everyone, or that cousin in California who doubts their worth. This video could be the push they need. And if you want, subscribe and hit the bell, because what's coming in the next part is even deeper. We're going to explore how the relationships you choose shape your self-esteem and how letting go of what doesn't serve you can ignite passions you can't even imagine. Are you ready? See you in a moment. If you've made it this far, it's because something in you is vibrating, searching for answers. We just talked about how your shadow and your energy are key to strengthening your self-esteem. That spark that, according to Carl Jung, has the power to ignite passions inside and outside of you. But now let's go further. What about the relationships in your life? Those connections with your partner, your friends, your family, even with yourself. Jung taught us they're not just random. They're reflections of your inner world, and how you handle them can lift you up or burn you out completely. So get comfortable, because this is about to get interesting. Jung had a fascinating idea called projection. In simple terms, it means that what you see in others, what you love, what you hate, what drives you crazy, is a mirror of something inside you. Imagine Carla, a 45-year-old woman in Mexico City. She always complains that her boss is controlling and critical. But one day, reflecting, she realizes she's super hard on herself, always demanding perfection. That boss isn't just an external person. She's a projection of Carla's shadow, that critical part she hasn't accepted. Or think of Diego, a 30-year-old man in Medellin. He admires his best friend because he always seems so confident. But deep down, Diego has that same confidence. He's just buried it under doubts and fears. This isn't magic or coincidence. Jung said our relationships are like a theater, where our unconscious stages what we need to see. Has it happened to you that someone gets under your skin and you don't know why? Maybe it's your partner who's always late, or a friend who talks too much about themselves. That thing that bothers you isn't just about them. It's a clue to something you carry inside. Maybe the lateness bugs you because you're scared of not being on time with your own dreams. Or maybe your friend's selfishness hurts because you don't let yourself shine. When you start seeing it this way, Relationships become teachers, not enemies. But here's the twist. Not all relationships are meant to stay in your life. Jung believed our unconscious also sends signals when something isn't aligned with our essence. Think of those connections that feel like a constant struggle. For example, Anna, a 38-year-old woman in Los Angeles, has been in a relationship for years full of drama. Fights, reconciliations, empty promises. She stays because she thinks, if I try harder, this will work. But every argument leaves her emptier, further from herself. Jung would say that chaos isn't bad luck. It's her unconscious screaming, let this go. Or imagine Pedro, a 27-year-old man in Cali. He has a friend who always criticizes him, makes him feel small. Pedro stays because they've known each other forever, but every hangout leaves him doubting his worth. What if letting go wasn't giving up, but setting yourself free? Jung invites us to see obstacles in relationships as messages. It's not about throwing everything away at the first problem, but asking yourself, does this connection make me more me or pull me away from myself? If it's the latter, letting go might be the bravest thing you do for your self-esteem. Because when you release what doesn't resonate with you, you make space for what does. Imagine Anna ends that toxic relationship. It hurts at first, but then she starts feeling lighter, more at peace. Suddenly, she meets someone who values her as she is. Or Pedro decides to distance himself from that critical friend. And little by little, his confidence returns, attracting people who lift him up. Let's pause here. Take a deep breath again. Think of a relationship in your life, romantic, family, friendship, that makes you feel heavier than free. You don't have to decide anything now, but ask yourself, what would happen if I let this go? If you want, write "let go" in the comments. I'd love to know what you're feeling right now. And if this message is moving you, share it with someone who needs a nudge to release what's weighing them down. Every time you do, you help this spark reach further. Back to the topic. Letting go isn't easy. I know. We hold on because we fear the void, loneliness, what people will say. But Jung had another beautiful idea, that void isn't something to fear. It's a sacred space. It's like a blank canvas where you can paint something new. When you let go of what doesn't serve you, you tell your unconscious, I trust something better's coming. And then something magical happens. Jung called it synchronicity, those coincidences that aren't coincidences. Suddenly, you meet someone who inspires you, find an opportunity that excites you, or just feel a peace you'd forgotten. It's the universe responding to your courage. Let's use a practical example. Imagine Laura, a 34-year-old woman in Monterey. She's been in a job that doesn't fulfill her for months, but is scared to quit. One day, following her intuition, that whisper from her unconscious, she takes the leap. Soon after, a friend offers her a project she's passionate about. That's synchronicity. When you align with yourself, the world aligns with you. Or think of Miguel, a 42-year-old man in Houston. He ends a draining friendship, and weeks later, without looking, he crosses paths with someone who shares his values and motivates him to grow. This isn't chance, it's the power of living from your truth. So here's another concrete tool. This week, identify one small thing that doesn't feel right, a relationship, a habit, an obligation, and let go of something about it. It could be saying no to a plan that doesn't excite you or stopping replies to stressful messages. Do it and notice how you feel after. It's a small step, but Jung knew big changes start this way. Your self-esteem grows when you take control of what you let into your life. Now let's talk about how the right relationships can ignite passions. When you're surrounded by people who see you, value you, and inspire you to be yourself, something awakens. Think of those times someone said, you can do it, and you really felt it. Or when a conversation left you ready to take on the world. Jung would say those connections don't just give you energy, they connect you to your purpose. For example, Claudia, a 50-year-old woman in Bogota, always wanted to write but put it aside to care for her family. Until a friend said, your stories are amazing, you should share them. That spark led her to start a blog, and today she feels more alive than ever. Or imagine Jorge, a 29-year-old man in Miami. His partner encourages him to pick up drawing again, something he loved as a kid. Now he has a small illustration business, all because someone believed in him. These relationships don't ask you to change who you are. They invite you to be more you. And that, according to Jung, is the fuel for self-esteem. Because when you accept yourself and surround yourself with people who reflect the best in you, you start to shine. But to get there, you need clarity. So here's a direct question. Who in your life makes you feel more you? And on the flip side, who dims you? Reflect on that for a moment. Before moving to the next part, I want you to do something. If this video is giving you clarity, give it a like and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Imagine that person in your life who doubts their worth or is stuck in a relationship that won't let them shine. And leave me a comment. What are you willing to let go of this week? Your words don't just inspire me, they inspire everyone who reads them. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because in the next part, we'll close this journey with the power of your authenticity and how it can transform everything. Ready for the end? See you in a bit. If you're here, it's because something is calling you to keep going. We just explored how your relationships are mirrors of your inner world and how letting go of what doesn't serve you opens the door to connections that ignite your self-esteem. Now let's close this journey with Carl Jung, taking it all to a deeper level, your authenticity. Because according to Jung, the true magic of life, the reason your self-esteem can ignite passions, lies in being who you really are. Not the version the world expects, not the mask you wear to fit in, but you in your purest essence. This is big. So get ready, because what's coming might change how you see yourself in the world. Jung believed that the purpose of life isn't chasing shallow happiness, but finding fullness. And that fullness only comes when you reconnect with your true self. But how do you know if you're living authentically? It's simpler than you think. Think of those moments when you feel free, light, like everything fits. Maybe it's when you're creating something, painting, cooking, writing, or when you talk to someone who gets you without judging. Now compare that to the times you feel trapped, pretending to be someone you're not. For example, Lucia, a 36-year-old woman in Guadalajara, has always been the perfect daughter. She studied what her parents wanted, works a safe job, but every day she feels like she's losing herself a little more. Or think of Raul, a 33-year-old man in Los Angeles. He forces himself to be the cool guy in his friend group, even though inside he just wants to stay home with a book. That sense of disconnection is a clear signal from your unconscious saying, this isn't you. Jung taught us that living against your essence dims your self-esteem because you're betraying what makes you unique. But when you align with your truth, something incredible happens. You start to shine from within. Imagine Lucia decides to take a photography course, something that's always excited her. At first, she doubts herself, but when she starts capturing the world her way, she feels a spark she hasn't felt in years. Or Raul tells his friends, I'm not going out today, I'm going to read. Some are surprised, but he feels stronger, more confident. That authenticity doesn't just boost their self-esteem, it ignites passions in them and those around them. Let's pause here. Breathe for a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time you felt truly you? Not what others expect, not what you should be, but you. If you want, write authenticity in the comments or share a moment when you felt truly free. I'd love to read it, and your words might inspire someone else in this community. Back to Jung. He said the path to authenticity involves integrating your shadow, that part we explored at the start, and listening to your unconscious. But it also requires action. It's not enough to understand it. You have to live it. For example, think about how your dreams, those you have while sleeping, or the ones you imagine awake, are clues from your unconscious. Jung saw them as coded messages. Maybe you dream of flying, escaping, or something that excites you but scares you. That's not random. It's your essence begging to be let out. Or maybe you have a waking dream, starting a business, traveling alone, learning something new. If you repress it, you're telling your unconscious, I don't trust myself. But if you take a step, even a small one, everything changes. Here's a practical tool. This week, write down a dream you have, big or small, and do one thing to get closer to it. If you dream of painting, buy a brush. If you want to travel, look up a destination. It's not about doing it all at once, but telling your unconscious, I'm listening. When you do, you'll notice your self-esteem grows because you're honoring who you are. And that confidence is magnetic. People feel it. Your relationships become more real, deeper. Now let's talk about chaos, because the road to authenticity isn't always smooth. Jung said, "There's no awakening of consciousness without pain." Sometimes the biggest transformations come from the darkest moments. Imagine Sandra, a 40-year-old woman in Bogota. She loses her job and falls into a crisis. Who am I without this? But in that chaos, she starts reflecting. She realizes she never wanted that job. She wanted to teach yoga. So she takes a course, and today she lives more fully than ever. Or think of Carlos, a 31-year-old man in Houston. A breakup leaves him shattered, but in the pain, he discovers he'd lost himself trying to please his ex. Now he's rebuilding his life from scratch, more authentic than before. That chaos isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's your unconscious shaking you to wake up. So next time you feel lost, don't avoid it. Ask yourself, what's this showing me? What part of me needs to heal or grow? Those questions are the bridge to your transformation. And when you cross that bridge, you start living from a place of inner power. Here's another key idea from Jung: synchronicity. We mentioned it before, but now let's tie it to your authenticity. When you live as your true self, the universe seems to conspire in your favor. You meet the right people, find opportunities that fit you. For example, Mariana, a 29-year-old woman in Medellin, decides to stop pretending to be extroverted to fit in. She starts being more reserved, more herself, and suddenly meets a group of artists who accept her as she is. Her life fills with creativity. Or imagine Javier, a 46-year-old man in Mexico City. He quits a job he hated, and without looking, an old friend contacts him with a perfect offer for his talents. That's synchronicity, the world responding to your truth. So how do you apply this today? Here's a concrete action. Identify a mask you wear: being strong all the time, pleasing everyone, hiding your emotions, and let it drop, even just for a day. Be honest with yourself, with someone else. See what happens. It might feel vulnerable at first, but then freedom will come. And that freedom is the fuel for your self-esteem. Before we wrap up, I want you to do something for this community. If this video has given you clarity, give it a like and share it with someone who needs to remember their worth. Imagine that friend in Colombia who doubts her dreams, or that family member in Mexico living for others. And leave me a comment. What are you going to do this week to be more you? Your words inspire and help this message reach more people. Now, a quick recap to ground all this. Carl Jung showed us that your self-esteem isn't just how you see yourself. It's the power that ignites passions when you accept yourself. Integrate your shadow and live authentically. The hidden reasons lie in your unconscious. That voice guiding you, those mirrors in your relationships, that synchronicity when you align with yourself. Don't look outside for what you already have within. The message I want you to take away is this: you are enough. And when you believe it, the world feels it. Reflect for a moment. What will you let go of? What will you embrace? This is your journey, and it starts today. If this touched you, subscribe, hit the bell, and join this family. Share this video, because together we can spark more authenticity. Thanks for being here. See you in the next video. Remember, the change starts with you. I'll be waiting.